So I guess the first one is what new events would I like to initiate? And I think that's funny because that was actually one of the questions when we did this application. And I said I wouldn't really initiate a brand new event. I think the events, we plan so many events that if we add another one, I think it just calls for total burnout. But I'm really open to whatever new events. Like, it's not just me, but it's the whole collective. It's, our community. And if they're totally gung-ho for a new event, if core wants to come and, they have that strong, urgency, we need to put Encore together, then by all means, let's do it, If we have, if there's a strength in that, then, I totally support it. But as a new event, I don't necessarily have something in mind right now at this moment, but I'm open to working with it, and I'm completely open for new ideas, because KP, it's continuously changing. We're not set to certain things that we have to do every year. So I'm pretty open to any event, just as long as it's good backing, good planning ahead of time. What events would I like to discontinue? I don't know. On my personally, this is a personal note. I don't like friendship games. However, I think because it's I don't know if it necessarily falls under our mission statement. I guess as a social social space, but friendship games we can do with or without that, to be honest. Magkasama, I always get that. I got that question a lot this year. Would I want to discontinue it? I think with that could be ever-changing. Events, thank you. Events that we've already, previously existing events, I think sometimes we have to go back and understand why are we doing these events. And I think that's more of the question to consider than what's something new or what's something we can discontinue. I think what is the reason for why we have these events. And, that can be changing, it could forever be changing. Because Magkasama, when it started, is totally not what Magkasama is this year, or this past year that I did it. So I think with that being said, that's it.
Taking a step back and asking why we have the events that we do. That being said, I haven't thought about what events I would like to discontinue. I think that's a dialogue I'd like to have with board and with the community, because I see the value in all of them, and so I'm not comfortable answering that aspect of the question. But when it comes to what events I'd like to see, I will address something that Camille said. Camille said that I don't think we should plan new events because of burnout, and I understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, I like planning new events. Maybe that's the RA in me, who knows? But I think it's a really good outlet for creativity. I think it's a really good chance to explore other options. For example, there was an event that we recently planned with a group of RAs called Life, and it was basically an imitation of the board game Life, except we turned Life into an acronym for Living in Fair Education, ? And I was really passionate about this event, that I spearheaded it because I was taking a class last quarter on just the inequalities in the education system, and it was perfect timing because it was around the time of the March 4th stuff. And I think that events, if people have the passion for it, I don't think there will be burnout for it, because if there's passion, people will just be magnetized to that and there'll be a support for it. And I think they'll be really educational. At the same time, I think that if the events that we plan are intentional, and by intentional I mean as we're planning it, we're listing objectives of what we want to get out of it, then I can say, you know what, that was a great event and these are the reasons why. When it comes time to writing our reports or evaluating the programs and we have that stuff there, then we can really just advocate for, this was great, this is what we can change. And I think new events would also be a good time to have collaborative events with the resource centers on campus. For example, Guess Who's Gay, hosted by the LGBTRC. We could do that. We could do that with QPOC. You know, right there, instant connection with SAC, one of the SAC orgs, Queer People of Color. We could do something with them. I think events are just really cool because we can work with other orgs, B, we can start educating people in a fun way, and C, we can really just open doors for thinking. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess with that question about events, I think I was thinking like big, like upscale events, like that require like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, but if I were to personally do something like maybe even like little workshops that pertain to like alumni or like what happens after, you know, undergraduate, or grad school workshops, cultural events. I'm going to totally butcher this, but I remember JSA and NSU had the Mitsuri Festival, and like things like that, you know, little things. I guess when I was thinking about it, maybe I was thinking about like upscale events. I was like, I don't want to do that. But like little things, like holding, you know, more API forums, kind of getting in on the know, like even like a workshop on utilizing our resources on this campus, just like what Angie had said. Like Spaces, One Stop, how to use the Student Services Center. Like I just learned about TRIO, which is like an outreach program, and like I'm totally like gung-ho for that next year. And even like utilizing sources like that like we have never even heard about. Like that's what I'm all about, you know, events like that, like little workshops. And you know, maybe like not everyone will come to these, but if we can change one person, that's one more person that, you know, that's one more person than before. And those are like the events that I would plan. And it wouldn't just necessarily be me, but it would be our board. It would be KP as a collective. And I think with that, and if we have the passion for it, or if even GBMers have the passion for something that they want to plan, if, you know, if people want to plan like ukulele workshops, like, yo, like that would be so dope. But I mean, it's just whatever we see like is right for this organization. Whatever we see will have, you know, the most support for this organization. I'm down for events like that. Thank you.
I'm just going to reiterate what I said earlier. I'm all for new events. I'm all for exploring options and collaborating with resources on campus because we are students and we are paying for these resources, and I think that we should take advantage of them. I think there's a lot of just hidden wealth that we haven't tapped into. For example, Oasis, the Career Services Center, things like that. Do we all know about those things? Does everyone know about them? Do freshmen know about them? I mean, sure, they talk about that at orientation, but seriously, when your orientation starts at 8 a.m., you're not paying attention to all that stuff. I would know. I've seen them. Anyways, I think that it would also be a good chance to express creativity. One of my goals as chair is to develop leadership within the KP community, and I think, as Camille pointed out, it's what the community wants to do, what they want to see. And if people want to see something done, I'd be like, hey, you want to help me plan that? Right there, fostering leadership, taking initiative. I think there's so much potential within each individual too. And so to really make that connection between academia, what we're learning in our classes, there were some really interesting social classes, ethnic studies classes, history classes, all that stuff that we're reading about in books, that we're discussing in class, but what is the practical application to that? Beats me. You show me that connection. Board should show me that connection. KP, each person can make that connection. And as a result, you can have a fabulous event that comes out of it, or an event that just has a little more depth to it. You know, you can spin an event that we already have in a different light. Finally, open doors for thinking. I think that if we are going to be continuing as a SAC organization, we should be asking the questions. We should be learning, at the very least, if we're not going to be getting anything else out of it.